Andy Dalton played like a little girl. The defense stepped up, and they had to cheap shot Le'Veon Bell to have any chance to win. Easy. That was a bunch of BS.
Le'Veon. Welcome to the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to one of the best shows I ever get to do. Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Cincinnati Bengals today. We won the AFC North title for the first time since the 2010 season. We swept the season series with Cincinnati. It feels great. Dash, Jeff, Easy, glad to have you guys here.
Pleasure to be here.
27-17 victory. Defense, right?
Number 3 seed in the AFC, fool.
This game was definitely won by the defense, Jim. You know, you got to love the 3 turnovers. The quarterback pressure was there. You know, all in all, a great job by the defense, you know, particularly Bryce McCain. You know, them 2 picks early on, that was huge.
McCain was thrown at 4 times. He picked the ball off twice, and they had 1 catch for 11 yards. That's shutdown corner type stuff.
Believe that.
And the picks came at the right time, too. Cincinnati was putting a good drive together on the first one, and he picked it off right there at the 1-yard line, took it into the end zone. I'm glad he took it back out of the end zone because that could have been a safety. But then the second one, he picked it off and set the offense up for a short drive right before that Martavis Bryant 21-yard touchdown.
Easy, I know you're boys with Richard Sherman, but I just want to point out to Richard Sherman that after Bryce McCain made huge plays, he didn't have to run in front of the mic and scream and yell like a moron.
Oh, he may have. We could have missed it.
You can't forget the big play Blake made, too. The forced fumble and fumble recovery. The Bengals were only down 3 points at that time, and they were driving there too. That was probably the biggest play of the game.
Huge play by Blake. He went after that ball. You know, Green didn't just drop it. And then who was it? Mitchell. He crushed AJ. And I never want to say hurt somebody if they hurt one of your players, so I don't want to hear anybody saying that. You know, just because they hurt Le'Veon, that it's good that we hurt AJ. That was a brutal hit. You got to feel for AJ Green.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he took a shot.
It was the only thing Mike Mitchell did the whole game, so.
Yeah. I mean, considering he whiffed on that Bernard tackle whenever he scored that touchdown.
And every other tackle he's had this year. But this game was great. It kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I'm going to give the defense probably an A rating for this game. And offense.
Definitely. The 3 turnovers were huge, 3 sacks, 4 QB hits. And yeah, the one thing they did do this week that they haven't done much this season is they let up a 100-yard rusher, but it was just 100 yards by Jeremy Hill. Most of that actually came in the first quarter, though.
I want to point out here that the Cincinnati Bengals held the ball for 34 minutes and 58 seconds to our 25 minutes and 2 seconds. The offense hung the defense out to dry all night long, and they stepped up time and time again, making big plays. I've been hating on them for a while, saying they were resourceful or opportunistic and just squeaking by. They straight up kicked the door in and won this football game and put the Steelers in prime position to advance in the playoffs. A home game against the Baltimore Ravens, no game's a lock, especially in the playoffs, but I'm much more comfortable with that than an away game against the Colts.
Let's not forget, too, the last time we played Baltimore, it was in Pittsburgh, and that was our defense's best game of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But let's take a look. These last 4 games, the defense let up 21 points or less. They let up 21, 20, 12, and 17. This actually does look like a playoff defense to me right now.
Now it does, definitely.
Tell you what, the key is the improvement in the defensive line. You know, Cameron Hayward had himself a solid football game again tonight. You know, you didn't hear too much about Stephon Tuitt tonight, but, you know, these guys seem to get the job done.
Yeah, Hayward was second on the team with 7 tackles, and he did have that sack. But, again, Lawrence Timmons leads the team in tackles just like every other week.
7.5 sacks for Hayward this year. That's huge from a D lineman in our system.
World's had one, too. He has 7.5 this season as well. I know you're not as high on him, though.
Well, Worlds is a linebacker. That's who's supposed to get our sacks.
Right.
Well, Dalton, the Bengals really didn't play their best game anyway. The Bengals looked pretty sad. That one interception, Dalton was just with a bad pass.
They were already.
They made mistakes.
they were already a little beat up on offense. H.A. Green came into the game hurt. I think Hill and Bernard have been dinged up off and on throughout the second half of the year.
Yeah, Grissom was
Dalton
playing
had the
in pain.
flu, yeah.
Yins are forgetting that game was so close. That game was before that stripped fumble. There, we were about to
Lose that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I mean, A rating for the defense, but it was maybe the offense fell. Well, once Le'Veon got hurt, they fell apart, I guess.
Even before Le'Veon got hurt, the run game wasn't doing anything. We averaged 1.6 on the ground today, and the last time we played Cincinnati, we were running all over them. That's pretty much the reason why we won the first matchup.
What's happened to the run game?
Well, like you guys were saying earlier, once you get killed by something the first time, you usually try to lock that up for the second time you play them.
Right.
But now, with Le'Veon out, what is going to happen with the run game is my question.
All right, so you can either say 7 or 14 points off of turnovers, because off the last turnover at the end of the game, Pittsburgh did score, but it was a big 70-yard pass play to Antonio Brown. But then you got the 7 points from the special teams, too. So, yeah, easy. The offense held their own, and they came up with that big play at the end of the game when they needed to seal the victory. But the defense wrapped it up, tied a bow on it, put the tag on it, wrote their name on it, put that crap under the tree, and had it all nice and ready for the offense to just go ahead and put it away.
The offense did put 2 good drives together. They had a 9-play, 69-yard drive. It only ended in a field goal, though. And then they put a 11-play, 70-yard drive together. But again, it just ended in a field goal. If they can put those in the end zone, then we're sitting here saying the offense had a pretty decent day.
You know who had a horrible day passing? Brad Wing.
Yes, he did.
What the heck was he doing, dude? That was the worst pass I've ever seen.
That was questionable. Like you said, why don't you might as well just keep the offense out there?
Exactly.
They didn't fool anybody. Cincinnati's seen it coming a mile away.
I'd also like to note it was intended for Will Allen.
Yeah. You had a punter throwing to your backup safety.
The guy can't even punt the
instead
ball.
of putting the quarterback in who was tied for the league lead in passing yards this year.
Speaking of Will Allen being our backup safety, let's say Polamalu is healthy for the playoffs. You were saying earlier, Will Allen might be better than Troy Polamalu right now. So would you keep Allen in? Or let me even ask you this. Is there any possibility we could play Polamalu and Will Allen instead of Mike Mitchell?
You may be able to put Allen over there for Mitchell. I don't think you can move
Yeah,
Troy
it's tough
to
to
a
put
different
Troy
spot.
over there. But yeah, you'd have to move Allen over there. But really, can he do any worse than Mike Mitchell?
I don't think I would be worse than Mike Mitchell, quite honestly, and I got one arm.
That's what I'm saying. I think that might be a good idea.
I think the only thing they may be worried about is what if Will Allen goes down, then you have nobody to back up Troy. And
Yeah, it's tough.
Why
But
not
you
just
wanna
put
win.
Shamarko in for Mitchell even, or Will Allen, either one?
I don't know if they're that high on Shamarko anymore, man.
I don't understand why.
He's there and they're not playing him at all.
He's on special teams, pretty much. That's it.
Yeah, he did have a tackle on special teams today. So did what's that one guy's name that's always down there on those punts? You were talking about?
Ventrone. Yeah, that guy flies to the ball on
Little
special
white.
teams.
5'8", 195 pounds. That dude's a beast.
Yeah.
He just
little
wants to
white.
have a movie made of him like Mark Wahlberg did.
Yeah.
It wasn't really
Good
about
stuff.
Mark
And even
Wahlberg,
I remember he was down there last week too,
but blasting dudes.
hitting people. Some good effort from that dude.
Le'Veon Bell still had 6 catches for 80 yards, which is huge. He had 100 yards combined. It's still a good game.
Except for he has a hyperextended knee because some dude cheap shot him too low.
Reggie Nelson,
Pathetic.
Tomlin looked like he wasn't happy about that after the game. I bet you it was about that.
Yeah, Tomlin's not going to come out and be like, yeah, we were dropping F-bombs on each other and, about ready to scrap in the middle of the field.
I tell you what, though, Reggie Nelson, he used to play for Jacksonville. I really like that guy. I wish he was our safety.
I hate him right now, actually.
Understandable.
Cheap shot at our best player. The good sign was you seen Le'Veon walking off the field. I talked to Brandon, our athletic trainer. He was watching the game. You can't make a perfect assessment from anything just watching on TV, but he said it's definitely the hyperextended knee. There's the possibility of an ACL or a PCL injury, and out of those two, the PCL would be better for Bell. It's something that's easier to heal. With the ACL, it takes a long time. You got a lot of therapy. You don't know how you're going to come back from it. There's the possibility of re-injury. Not everybody's a freak robot child beater like Adrian Peterson, so we don't know if he could come back and run for 2,000 yards and then shove leaves in his kid's mouth and beat him with a stick.
Josh Harris, he only had 7 yards on 5 carries.
He would have had like 70 yards.
Yeah, he had that real big run, and there was a little bit of holding there, but the refs were garbage all game. They didn't call so many penalties against the Bengals that could have been called. But really, my question was, what do you think about Josh Harris going forward?
He looked like he ran hard. I mean, he kept his legs turning.
Even if Bell does come back and he can play, I'd keep Harris involved just to keep Bell's carries down a little bit.
I don't like Dre Archer in the backfield at all. He looks like mini-me back there. He has no size to be able to block. He whiffed on so many blocks. He put Ben Roethlisberger in danger a couple times. There was a couple third downs where they had him in there. Why would they not just put Will Johnson in there? I know Archer's more dynamic coming out of the backfield to catch the ball and everything, but when you have your franchise quarterback's life on the line back there, you got to put somebody who can protect his blind side, and Archer cannot block anybody.
Absolutely. I mean, normally that would have been Le'Veon Bell out there, but...
Yeah, they cheap shot at his knee.
He looked good in the passing game, though.
Archer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's always good in the passing game. I don't know why he's not a slot receiver.
Always.
Well, I mean, he'll always be better as a receiver than a running back, is what I'm trying to say. He shouldn't be listed at running back. He should be a slot receiver. That's it. A punt returner.
He'd be awesome in the slot.
Another big mistake by the offense was that Marcus Pouncey snapped to Ben.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on
at that point of the game. That was absolutely huge when that happened.
The fumble at the end of the game when Ben went to hand it off?
Oh, man.
That was scary.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. They could have just kneed too. I don't know what they were trying to do there.
I think the play you're talking about with Pouncey, he might have just had the snap count wrong from...
It was still a terrible snap, too.
Yeah. Nobody was ready for it. None of the other O-linemen was ready. Ben wasn't ready. Like, nobody knew the ball was coming. So Pouncey definitely just had a miscommunication with Ben.
The offensive line was stellar.
Munchak,
other than that,
Munchak's got
no
him playing
sacks
well.
again. They showed, 70-some straight plays at one point where he didn't get sacked.
How about Martavis Bryant's one catch for 21 yards and a touchdown?
I said they got to get these guys involved. They always get them involved for one frickin' play.
He gets a touchdown.
He
has 8 touchdowns on the year, I think. That's huge for a rookie.
Okay, when was it? Whenever we kicked our, was it our first or second field goal? Was that 3rd and 8? I think, were we inside the 20 and they went to a draw play? I didn't like that play call at all.
I hate draw plays.
Well, I tell you what.
Unless it's like 3rd and 30 and you're probably not going to get it on a pass play anyway. You're just trying to set yourself up for better field position. I just hate the draw play. I don't know. I don't got much else to say about that.
Our offense, like we were saying, didn't look good, but a lot of it had to do with coaching, too. There were some bad play calls out there today.
Yeah.
3rd and 8, you need to score. Offense is struggling to get off to a quick start. I think you need to go for it right there. I just think called a draw play takes away from the strengths of your offense with these quick wideouts and Le'Veon Bell coming out of the backfield. That just negates the whole purpose of your offense right there.
After Le'Veon got hurt, the whole team looked in slight disarray. The coaching staff didn't know what to do. The players looked like they were all going to throw up on the sideline. They threw like 5 or 6 straight screen passes. Maybe not straight, but it just felt like that's all they did was throwing that horizontal screen pass. They just lost it. They didn't know what was going on until that big 70-yard touchdown. And the offense, I don't know, it sputtered, I guess I want to say, for most of the game. Going 3 for 11 on 3rd downs, 0 for 1 on 4th downs. They only had 346 total yards.
Usually horrible.
Usually
the
Ben has
don't
that
matter,
himself.
though, man. They got to score
and
touchdowns.
Le'Veon has 100.
Agreed, but there were times in this game where you would have liked to have seen them stay on the field a little bit longer. Of course, early on you saw a couple of key drops.
Well, Ben was sick too. He was in and out of the locker room early in the game.
He's going to need Mochar's plumbing by the time he's down in the bathroom.
But really, heading towards the playoffs, would you rather see the defense playing well right now or the offense? I think, personally, I always believe Big Ben and Brown and hopefully Bell can always have a big game. So I'm just happier that the defense is playing well right now because the offense can blow up at any point.
Well, we all know the offense is good. They've been putting points on the board like it's their job, basically, since about the midway point of the season. Haley's offense has finally come to life in the way he wanted it to. So, yeah, you're right. The defense playing as well as they are right now, that's the best thing that can happen for this team. It gives the offense momentum. It gives the whole team that feeling of, we can definitely do this. They look jacked up out there. Those defensive backs, they're a bunch of has-beens, wannabes, and never was. And they're playing okay football, if not good football right now.
They're the hottest team in the AFC right now. Denver's had their struggles. They won big today, but it was Oakland. New England just lost today.
They played their backups, though.
Brady was in there for half the game, and he played like crap.
Brady's a piece
Who
of
else
crap.
is out there? But Baltimore's playing like crap right now.
They're garbage.
Indy doesn't look too great. They won today, but they haven't looked great recently. I'm telling you, the Steelers are the hottest team in the AFC right now.
Andrew Luck's turned into Andrew Suck lately. Screwed Johnny Parlay out of a fantasy championship.
One player who did play well on offense today is Antonio Brown. He had a big game, 7 catches. Early on, he missed those couple passes, and it didn't look like he was going to have a good game, but still 128 yards off 7 catches and a touchdown. Plus, he had the punt return for a touchdown. Big game for Antonio Brown.
When he dropped those 2 passes, I thought Jeff's head was going to explode. He started writing him hate mail until he seen him get a couple more catches after that.
Yeah, he was actually targeted 13 times, so his percentages ain't that great. 7 catches and 13 targets. You want to see more catches out of that many targets, but still, without him today, it'd have been a lot different of a game.
And ended up leading the league in receptions, first Steeler ever.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And yards, and he was close in touchdowns. I think Des Bryant had 3 or 4 more.
What was it? Second most in history, right? 120
catches, yeah.
129, I believe it is now.
Yeah. That's crazy. I never thought I'd see a Steeler receiver second most catches in history.
Heath Miller did his thing today, too. He blocked a lot, but the catches he made, 3 for 41, he was still our third best receiver.
If he comes back next season, he's most likely going to pass John Stallworth for second all-time in receptions for Steelers.
Speaking of coming back next season, I seen Harrison say he has one more season in him.
One more year, why not? Let's get it done.
Bring him back. He's been great this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the dominant force he used to be, but he's definitely still one of our best defensive players.
Yeah, I mean,
If he can give you 4 great games out of the year, he's worth a little bit of money you'd have to pay him.
Have you ever seen a guy play with more intensity out there? The guy's just constantly angry.
I think he's pretty much that way in his whole life. He just wakes up mad. He has a good BM. He's still mad. He goes downstairs and gets his coffee and cereal. He probably smashes the mug for looking at him funny.
But I love James Harrison, though. He's definitely one of my favorite football players.
He'd probably murder you if you ever seen him and said that to him.
Kill, me and you had the same key to victory. It was get the run going early, and it definitely didn't happen.
And no, J-Dash, it definitely didn't. I mean, Bell just seemed to get more into the passing game a little bit, using them little quick, basically extensions of the running game, just small, quick passes, get up, get into some space, get upfield.
Really, it's been no different than the rest of the season. The Steelers' offense, slow to begin the game. It's been like that all season long, and then towards the end of the first half, you always see him get some life in him, put a good drive together. This week it only ended in a field goal, but still, they usually pick it up right before the half ends, and then they usually have a better second half, but still only 7 points in the second half tonight.
They won by more than 3.5 points, and that helped me out big time for my New Year's celebration, so I'm loving life right now. My key to victory was similar to your guys with the running game. Use that to get into the play-action passing game and get some big chunks of yards. The running game really didn't get going. We ran some play action. I don't think it had the effect that it could have if we would have ran the ball a lot better. So none of our keys to victory really happened, and we still got that victory. To me, that says 2 things. 1, we don't always know what we're talking about. 2, the Steelers can find different ways to win games. People could say they're winning ugly and they're not being consistent. We know championship teams don't always play outstanding in all phases of the game in every single game. Sometimes one phase of the game struggles and the other one has to pick it up. And that's what I'm seeing with Pittsburgh, especially with the special teams touchdown. We've been clamoring for a big play on special teams. We finally got it. It really meant something. You know, without that touchdown, this is a totally different game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, our special teams normally doesn't do anything except kick field goals.
That's it. And
Easy's key to victory came true.
what, drink beer?
No, it was stay sober.
Stay sober, and he did it, and we won.
That was it.
All
It
day.
was a rough Saturday night, so I even if I was at 100% strength today, I might have not have been. So
Long night hanging out with Johnny Parlay, huh?
yeah, it was a long night made for a long day. But I stayed moderated and I was coherent for the game.
Any meatball shots last night?
Oh,
No meat shots.
No meat shots.
No meat shots last night.
Now the
Gonna dip a taco into
the
crumb.
shuffleboard table there was
Early.
quarantine for Ebola. You didn't happen to contact Ebola while you were there, did you? Or the mumps. We can't have everybody in spread studios getting the mumps.
offensive player of the game.
Antonio Brown,
It has
punt
to be.
return
Has to be
touchdown.
Well,
Antonio
that
Brown.
doesn't count as offensive, but yes, that was a big play by him.
Well, I was trying to finish all my stats, but you can just really cut me off every time you would like.
Oh, offensive player of the game, first thing you say is punt return.
That puts points on the board, man.
It does, but it's not offense. But go ahead.
All right. He had the big punt return. He had the big 63-yard catch from Ben late in the game. He controlled the ball. He does what he always does. He got his 5 for 50. When Bell went down, he stepped
Two
up.
seasons in a row now.
Yeah. When Bell went down, he stepped up and made a big play that the offense really needed to seal that victory. So, Antonio Brown all the way.
I agree. And defensively, I'm going to say just the D-backs in general. I'm so happy with how they played tonight compared to how they've been playing for 6-7 weeks now.
I'm going to give it to McCain, like I said earlier. The four passes thrown his way, 2 picks, only 1 catch.
Yeah, he played great, but
He was very physical. You've seen him stuff the run a couple times. I like this guy. I think he could be one of the best nickelbacks in the league. I'm still not sold on him on the outside because there's a lot of big, strong, physical receivers. But there's no reason this guy, should not be on the roster come training camp next year for a chance to make it as that first nickelback coming out.
I completely agree, Jim. He had a huge game tonight. The 2 interceptions. He only allowed 1 completion. So how are you going to argue with those results right there? I mean, Steelers needed a big performance. He definitely gave it to them, provided a spark, a difference maker early on, and it kept the Steelers in the bowl game.
yeah, really, both those turnovers came at key moments. But really, I say D-backs because I like how Blake played again, too. The big forced fumble and the fumble recovery when it was 20-17, I believe. And he had 7 tackles again.
Well, how about Lawrence Timmons today? Mr. I'm going to be everywhere, 11 tackles, to lead the team, 7 solos. This guy just always seems to be there.
I swear they could have had 10 sacks if there wasn't so much holding.
Yeah, the
Worlds definitely got held a few times.
Well, we all know Harrison's held on every single play. It's a bunch of BS. So anytime the Steelers get away with holding, I don't want to hear anybody complain.
You got to give Andrew Whitworth some credit, though. I mean, he did play a nice game at left tackle. That left side never really got close to Dalton the whole game.
The Steelers had 3 sacks today, so if they want to keep that going, that'll help them beat Baltimore next week easily.
There wasn't tons and tons of pressure. There was only 4 QB hits, and sacks count as QB hits too, so there wasn't a ton of pressure, but the 3 sacks definitely helped. But remember, the last time we played Baltimore, we had 10 QB hits, and we need to see that again.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe 20, 30.
Especially playing in our house.
Joe Flacco's playing like garbage. You'll hear
I
that
hate
later,
Joe
though,
Flacco.
this
We
week.
need to get to Joe Flacco early. You need to get him thinking. You need to get him scared and moving around.
Well, it was definitely a great night to be a Steeler fan. It's a great night to be a spread fan. It's a great night to be a spread host. I want to thank you guys for coming in studio with us. Fans, I hope you're all pumped up about this Steeler victory. Finally get that division again. I love when we win the division. Then you can talk
nice.
smack on everybody else.
11-5, you called it.
Please believe. Yeah, I called it right. 11-5. I went 5-0 on my picks this week. Plus, I got the Steelers pick right, except for the score completely wrong.
Dead wrong.
Fans, you guys can keep following us and keep listening. Check us out on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. Like us on YouTube. We're going to keep pumping out these Steelers segments as long as they keep playing, so just keep listening.
Go Steelers.
See you in the playoffs.
Do you?